Hello, we're back, and I've had a haircut. Yes, it's a fantastic thing. It's been 3 months, 4 months, I can't really remember. Welcome back, and look what I have on my desk today. I have the brand new JVC camera, and I also have John Kelly from JVC. Hello.
Hi Jim, good to be here.
Thank you for coming. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Excellent.
Yes.
We are socially distanced.
We are, of course.
And you're by the door, so you've got lots of woodland fresh air coming in.
Indeed, it's a beautiful scene.
You're very kind. Thank you very much. It's a bit drizzly today, but if we can go in the forest, we will. But if we can't, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of your new camera. Now, tell me the name of it again. It's very snappy.
Well, indeed, yes. It is the GY-HC500.
Wow, that rolls off the tongue.
Well, of course, yes. We do try.
There's the 500 and the 550, but we'll come to that in a minute.
Yes, we will, yeah.
They're fundamentally the same
correct.
camera. And looking at it, it's a very impressive piece of kit. It's what I would call the self-enclosed form of camera. Everything you need is in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
You can put it in a bag and you can pull it out and turn it on and go straight to work. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Obviously, it's got integrated lens and all the buttons and switches and manual or auto control that you need. With audio support as well, of course. So yeah,
yes.
Absolutely, very much a camera you can put in your bag, pick it up and get out and start shooting.
Yes, and size of sensor?
It's a 1-inch 4K sensor.
Okay, 4K. And I've had a look at the specs, and the thing that jumped out at me is it's 422 10-bit.
Yes, that's exactly correct. And actually it's really the first range of cameras that we've had in that format. So it's quite an important step forward for us. So the recording format is up to 422 10-bit in the ProRes format. So that obviously gives you yes indeed, yeah.
Which is accepted everywhere in all NLEs of any description.
Yes,
exactly.
Indeed.
Frame rates on this bundle of joy. Tell me.
Yeah, so there's quite a wide range, of course, depends whether you're 4K or HD, of course. So looking at the 4K, first of all, you can go up to 5060p. If you're recording, for example, to the SSD, you can go full rate, ProRes, 422 10-bit, 50p. In HD, you've got a wide range of frame rates, and that will also go up to 100 or 120 high-speed frame rate recording in HD. So if you don't want that more creative aspect of shooting high frame rate HD, you can go up to 120 frames.
That's very good. That's kind of what we need to hear.
The recording formats and media, firstly, are the choice of either standard SD card, beg your pardon, or SSD. And it's the SSD which is really quite unique about the camera because that's integrated in via a carry that just slips in the back of the camera.
Yes.
What do you think you've got there, Jim?
I have, and I'll just show our lovely audience. So, for instance, if you had a very cheap SSD like this, it fits in this dinky little caddy here. Here's one we made earlier, and it would pop just in the back here, in that side, wouldn't it?
That's right.
So my SDs are here, and my SSD is here, and that's lovely that it's built in.
Yes.
Nothing to fall off, nothing to drop. It's built straight in.
So yes, it's really kind of unique to have that recording capability within a camera of this size and class. So therefore you've got the benefits of the 1-inch 4K sensor, that 1-inch sensor giving you quite a lot of creative control over shallow depth of field and so on. So you get some nice sort of cinematic images, if you like, in conjunction with the various recording modes that we can talk about shortly. And then you've got that really high quality acquisition codec of the ProRes 422 10-bit.
Yeah, I mean, and you could put a 4 terabyte in there, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could. Yes, I mean, for example, 2 terabytes will give you in 10-bit mode up to sort of 3 hours recording in a single card. You can step it down a little bit and go even much longer than that. So
that highly stimulating 10-hour corporate talk could be covered, couldn't it?
Yeah, you've done many of them, I'm sure, Jim.
I have the perfect camera for it. But that I think the fact it's built in, the fact it's all part of one unit, and it's kind of SSD, so very reliable, and then you've got twin SDs as well.
Correct.
And I can what I did like was I saw that you can record on one start-stop, and you can have the other one permanently recording as well.
Yes, so I mean there's a really wide range of recording modes you can do in that. So you can do backup recording, for example. So as you sort of alluded to, the backup recording on a second card. You can do series recording from A to B. So for even longer than 10-hour events, you could keep recording, and that can hot swap. So you could record that corporate event to infinity if that's how long.
Crikey, infinity of corporate event.
Yes.
The very thought makes me want to go into lockdown again. But anyway, so that's our media. Front end, we've got a 20 times zoom, haven't we?
That's right, yeah, and you've got full 3-ring control of that, so you've got nice. Close control of your lens parameters. That will also go if you're in HD mode, because it will zoom through the sensor. You get another 20 times digital zoom as well if you're in HD mode, so you've got potentially 40 times range
an
in
enormous
HD.
reach.
Yeah, so obviously for things like live events where you need a longer zoom range, maybe for concert hall, theatre, something like that, or shooting wildlife, or many other applications, the convenience of that, and really that's one of the interesting things about the 4K 1-inch sensor. With that lens, you get a really nice combination point of still having that creative shallow depth of field control, but the convenience of a very flexible long zoom lens.
And like any 4K sensor, you can leverage that oversampling to give you that punch in as well, as many other cameras do. But it's great to have it in one thing. How fast is the lens? Is it stopwise? Do we know in terms of drop?
It is.
I can tell you, it's a 2.8 to 4.5.
Yes, you got that. Yeah.
So actually, you can get some drop there, which is quite. And I've been playing with it out in the garden, and there is that ability to, even though, yes, it's not a full frame sensor, but it's 1 inch, and so you can get that slightly shallower depth of field in what I would say is a sort of perfect ENG style body, with NDs as well, all built in, nothing to add. I mean, just quickly to show you, obviously that's your normal LCD screen that you can turn around like so as well if you want. You've got built-in mic here.
And you've got your standard 2 channels XLR, of course.
So on this side.
Yes, and you've got your normal manual level controls of that, and even if the camera's in full auto mode, you can still get manual level control of your audio levels if you need to do so. Otherwise, on the side of the camera, again, all the normal controls, manual controls, so gain, shutter, white balance, everything is there. So there is a full auto button, and if you hit that, then you can really point and shoot if you need some good results quickly. But if you need that more, creative control and setup of the camera, then everything is very easily accessible through those manual controls.
And so these cameras are great because you have that auto setting. So if you have someone with not a lot of experience, you can pull it out of the bag, turn it on, and film something, and it will be in focus, and it will be correctly exposed. Fingers crossed. And then if you have someone who knows a little more, they can delve into the settings and they can actually produce something a bit more advanced. And we've got an EVF on the back.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so you've got the choice of that, or obviously the flip out LCD. So lots of monitoring capability. And then I guess also moving on a little bit from that is in terms of I/O. You've got 3G SDI output, or up to 3G SDI. You can downscale that if you like, if you need, and then also you have HDMI output as well. And these, of course, are both uncompressed outputs. So if you're going into broadcast feed or a vision mixer or whatever that may be, then you're getting full uncompressed, full bandwidth video outputs.
And I also read it's got JLog.
Yes,
Your
that's
version
correct.
Of log,
yes,
log in
indeed.
Here. Tell me a bit about
that. That's correct. Well, actually, we have our own JLog. We introduced that in our previous large sensor camera, the LS300, which is a Super 35 4K camera. And we've added that also into the HC500 and 550. But not only that, we've also added in HDR, HLG support as well. So if you are looking to, look towards that creative direction, then you've got a lot of adjustment control over that. If you want to go really deeply into the camera menus, you've got cinematic modes as well.
I had a play. What was nice was that you can have a punchy 709 in there, but it was interesting how much of a difference it made if I flattened it in effect into my cinema modes, and I see you've got matrix and all sorts of things. You can take the detailing down, you can do all of that. So it seems what's lovely is it's an ENG style camera, but you can bring it to a more creative side. Do you know what I mean?
That's exactly correct. Yeah. So you know, as you mentioned, Jim, you've got full color matrix control in there. So if you want to go really deep into it, you can get very custom setups. And on that point, you can load and save all of your camera settings just to one of the SD cards. So you can have a camera set up for you know, maybe an HDR setting, for example, or a Rec 709 setting. Pop that in, load it up, and off you go.
That's also useful if you're an organisation where you have multiple operators.
Correct, yes.
And you just say, you know, I don't know how to set my camera up, put this SD in, run it across 6 cameras, it's all the same, off you go. Do you know what I mean? That does really help. And actually going back to the 10-bit, if you're going to shoot JLog, it's really nice to have 10-bit, because I think log needs 10-bit to really get the maximum out of that. I noticed you've got nice controls up here that you can actually change the speed of on the zoom as well. So that's your conventional, you know, fast one. But I was able to fiddle with that and actually slow that down. So if I wanted more of a creep, I could do a creep, and then I could have my fast control on.
That's right, and there's also some adjustment in the menus you can set for that as well. So you've got quite a range of control in that regard.
And then let's talk about connectivity, because you guys, I think, what's your USP? I would say connectivity is a big part of what JVC is about, more so than perhaps other manufacturers.
Yeah, I think we were certainly, I think, a leader in the early days of that move towards IP connectivity, and I think we continue really to excel in that area. So we've had that capability in the cameras for quite a number of years now. The banner of these new cameras are called Connected Cam, and what the meaning of that effectively is to take the IP capability we've had and really boost it to another level. So there's a really wide IP feature set, and it's quite hard to sort of summarize in a short period of time. But I guess you could say there's 3 absolutely core things that you can do from an IP point of view. The first thing is live streaming. So, and it's true, many cameras can live stream now, but what in that regard is very unique about our cameras is you've got a huge range of both streaming formats and streaming resolutions. So for example, we support the RTMPS format that Facebook Live uses, or YouTube, for example. So it makes it very easy to go directly out to Facebook Live. Maybe you're doing a corporate event or something like that. But we also have some, you know, really quite advanced streaming codecs in there, like ZXI, for example, which is a forward error correction protocol, and also just adding SRT support in as well, which is really becoming interesting at the moment. And then also a really wide range of data rates, from really low, if you've got, you know, quite challenging bandwidth conditions, all the way up to 24 megabits per second.
And at the same time, I can have my high res going to my SSD. Is that correct? Yeah. Which is that seems to me really killer, because yes, I'm throwing my low res out. Yeah. Okay, getting it out, but I've also perhaps for the program got my high res on the SSD.
Yeah. So what you can do then is you can do a really wide range of streaming formats, but that's only sort of one aspect of the IP. Some of the other aspects are remote control of the camera over IP.
You spoke to me about a TV program. I won't mention it. Yeah. But a large one. And tell me about how they were using that with remote control.
Yeah. So this was sort of post-lockdown really, and they had a requirement in a reality TV environment to shoot interviews remotely, and of course they couldn't do that with a normal camera operator. So what they did, they installed the camera, and through a just simple web interface, it's not a dedicated app or anything.
No, so a web interface that someone could have on, you know, on their computer, somewhere else.
Or iPhone, Android device, laptop.
Or just a tablet even would work, or a phone even.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. And within that browser environment, firstly, you have full camera control. Gain, shutter, white balance, lens control.
Yes, because you'd be able to zoom because it's all built in.
Yeah, absolutely, that's correct. And you can set lens presets, for example. So it gives you the ability to control the camera remotely. So you can frame an interview, you can get your color balance right, and your exposure correct. And then, of course, you could stream that. That would be one possibility. But actually, if you need the files for edit, what you can do is start the camera recording down to card, and then FTP the files back to whatever your FTP destination is for edit. So that will give you, of course, you can do your full resolution, full bandwidth files, but also you can record proxy files as well. So maybe in another environment like news or something fast-paced, you could send proxy files back for quick edit, quick transmission obviously, and then do a conform or an online effectively when you get the full resolution media files back.
That's, especially now, that seems incredibly useful. And I know it does face tracking as well. So
Yes, that is
you
correct.
can enable the face tracking.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's not a PTZ because it's a proper camera.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's getting some of those qualities, if you like, from that remote
Yes.
cam, you know, area, and putting it in the same package. And actually, as a camera operator, it's giving you more flexibility. You can then offer your clients, you know, I can come and film where I can film, but where I can't film, I can place that camera remotely, and we can, from a safe distance, operate it and capture what you need.
And what we've seen, particularly post-lockdown, Jim, is really an expansion of those range of applications or demands. And, you know, we've been learning as well, you know, customers ask, well, I'm trying to achieve this, and you help and you learn, you know, some techniques to achieve that kind of remote production or remote control of cameras. So that FTP file transfer, the remote control of the camera over IP, just with a browser, and of course the live streaming as well, gives you a really sort of powerful core set. But Connected Cam, if I may, also adds in a number of other things, like, for example, we can do both return video and audio IFB over IP. So you can do a true two-way over
two-way
IP.
interview.
Exactly, all over a single IP connection. So there's a lot of really powerful stuff in
There's a lot of powerful stuff.
over
That yes, it's funny, isn't it? We've come to a place where the camera's one part of it, but the back end, the you know, the connected cam bit and the browser, and then that ability, it's almost as important now. It you know, so the two bits have to marry together.
That's right, and I think that's the interesting thing. And of course, that demand for IP capability is definitely increasing at the moment.
It's not going to go away. It's just going to get more.
Indeed. But I think it's also true that if you look at it, the 500 and the 550, just from a purely, let's say, camera acquisition point of view, that combination of the flexible lens, the 1-inch 4K sensor, the log and HDR formats, and especially the ProRes 10-bit 422, really give you a great flexible acquisition camera, plus all the IP stuff as well if you need it.
So just quickly, the 500 and the 550, what's the sort of difference between? I presume they're very similar.
They are, I guess you would say, sort of 90% or thereabouts similar. There is one physical difference which you can see quite readily. On the 550, it has a pair of dual MIMO Wi-Fi antennas built in. So all of the IP capability we talked about almost completely is available in two cameras. There's some differences, but they're really quite similar. So you can live stream, you can remote control the camera, you can file transfer and so on with both cameras. In the 500, you get an Ethernet port and you get a USB that you could plug in a 4G dongle or a Wi-Fi dongle. The 550 gives you all of that, plus the addition of the built-in MIMO Wi-Fi antenna. So let's say, for example, you were very dedicated towards streaming IP delivery and so on, then the 550 might be the product you would look towards. But certainly you can do a lot of that IP capability in the 500 as well. You can also do in the 550, you know, a couple of other interesting things. You can do, for example, the Zixi mode that I mentioned earlier for the really high quality streaming. And you can also do a lower third graphic overlay directly inside the camera.
Inside the camera.
Yep.
That's great. So you don't need a laptop.
Yep.
You can actually be doing a live event with a logo on it or something like that, or you know, or a little description banner in camera, and that's going straight out. That's great.
That's right, and you control that using exactly the same web browser interface as we discussed through the remote control of the camera. So for example, you might create a preset template of your graphic style and logo and so on before the live event.
Yes.
And then once you're there, if you want to change the speaker name or something like that, or the event name, you simply type it in or edit it on your phone or your laptop or your tablet, whatever that may be, hit go, and it immediately goes live. So
I'm all for the less amount of kit.
Yes.
The smaller. If you can turn up with that in a bag, and a tablet, that's dreamy. That's
Yes.
lovely.
Yeah, so if you're doing that again, sort of simple live event, maybe a single camera to Facebook Live, to YouTube perhaps, that is, you know, a huge saving of kit in particular and their first setup and risk as well, of course.
And as a freelancer, we're all trying to find ways to justify our existence and make a living. And it's a lovely thing to be able to offer a client. I can make your little film of your event, but also I can stream it at the same time. And it's about adding value to the package that you're then offering.
Yep.
This camera allows you to do that in that sense. The one thing that I want, you're going to laugh at me, is I want this in a shoulder mount with an EVF on the front. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Well, I can't promise that tomorrow.
No, I know.
I'll do
I
my
know.
best.
There's always something extra.
Yes,
there's always something extra. Very interesting offering. I have to ask, what's the price?
So street price at the moment, UK is for the HC500 is about 3K roughly speaking. Street price on the HC550s sort of 3,600 or so on, just over 3.5K. So yeah, they're, I think for, you look at everything you've got in terms of lens, sensor capability, recording formats, and of course the IP side of it as well. There's not much more to add.
It's a basket of goodies.
Yeah.
It's a bit like a Fortnum Mason hamper. Not that I've had one of those recently, but I would imagine it's the Fortnum Mason camera. You know, everything's there.
Well, of course.
It's all in the basket for what you need, and quite an accessible price for what it has compared to where we used to be. I think definitely. And is it shipping now?
It is, absolutely, yes. So yes, it's freely available now. And one point maybe to note, at the moment as we speak in the middle of July, then the SSD adapter, which you have there, and also the 1 terabyte media, that comes free of charge with the camera at the moment.
Right.
So that's a running promotion over certainly the next couple of months, I think, over July, August, September. So if anyone is looking at the camera just now, then it's a great time to buy, because both the caddy and the 1 terabyte media will come free of charge.
And I'm guessing if I wanted to buy more caddies, can you?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So
absolutely, yeah.
It suddenly occurred to me, if I had 2 caddies, you know, you could have.
Indeed, that's correct. Yeah, absolutely.
And you can offload, I see, just from the caddy.
Absolutely, yeah. So just pop that into your laptop or PC or edit system and copy the files over. SSD is, of course, extremely fast, so it's going to be a very quick file transfer. Some people actually edit directly off that.
Well, you can't you? Of course, you could if you're in a crash hurry.
You're always better to copy over but of course.
Belt and braces.
Needs must.
Needs must. You'll have another copy on there anyway.
Yes, indeed.
Well, John, thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure.
It's been great. Very clear, very concise. I think we'll all agree this is the hamper-sized version of a camera with all the bits in it that you need, from the back to the front. It's a completely enclosed bundle of joy. And thank you for coming to this humble shed in the woods. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.
And will you come back? I have to ask.
Yes, if invited.
Yes.
It's an open invite. We come one, come all. We'll see you soon. Take care.